Hi, I'm Chance. I'm a long-distance backpacker with over 5,000 miles hiked. I also co-host the Backpacker Radio podcast for the Trek. And finally, I've authored Hiking from Home, a long-distance hiking guide for family and friends, which teaches our loved ones the ins and outs of what through hiking entails so that they can feel more comfortable with you hiking anything from hundreds to thousands of miles in the backcountry. REI is currently having their biggest sale of the year with over 10,000 items on sale, some as much as 60% off. So to help you narrow down the good stuff, I wanted to share some of my top picks for items I've taken backpacking. I put a huge emphasis on keeping a low pack weight since I'm only 5'1" and I don't want to risk injury from having too heavy of a pack. But many of the items I do carry are sold at REI and are currently on sale, so those are the ones that I'm going to run through. Lastly, keep in mind gear preferences are different person to person, so my preferences may not be your preferences, and that's okay. This is just what I personally like from this sale. Okay, this one is the Zoleo satellite communicator. A sat nav is a great item to have in your kit if you're going to be doing any kind of backcountry hiking where you may not have cell reception, just in case something goes wrong. This is going to be what I'm taking on the Grand Tetons Trail, which I'm going to be doing in July. But here's the stats on that. Average battery life is 200 hours. It weighs 5.3 ounces. And you can pause it and read the features if you want, but the most popular one that people typically go for is the InReach Mini 2. This one is a great sat nav from Garmin. It's small, it's compact, it links with your cell phone, so those are all great features for it. It also wins a lot of the time on weight. This weighs only 3.5 ounces, so it's super light and super easy to add to your pack without adding a bunch of weight with it. This one I love for car camping, not really backpacking because you wouldn't carry this on a backpacking trip, but anytime we go car camping and we set up our stuff right near the car, one of Garrett's friends always brings this chair and it is the first thing I try to sit in. I always wait for him to get up so that I can sit in it myself, and it is on my list of things that I want to get for myself. That way I'm not at the liberty of someone else using it or not using it. It does weigh 15 pounds, so yeah, you're not taking this backpacking, but car camping, it's a great one. Okay, Helinox. When I first got into the outdoors, I got obsessed with Helinox chairs, and then I started getting a lot of them as Christmas presents. So this is one of the ones I have. I do also like the swivel chair because you can just spin side to side in it, but I do have this one too, and I keep both in my car, and they're super small. They're super easy to carry. If you wanted to go on a short hike with it, it wouldn't be the most outlandish thing. It does weigh a pound, so I probably wouldn't bring it on a long backpacking trip. But for a short hike or for car camping, it's great. Okay, these are the REI Flash Carbon Compact Trekking Poles. And these are really cool because they are a pretty affordable price and they're pretty light. So I did a lot of research when I was prepping for the Pacific Crest Trail, and this was something that I cut my costs on compared to the other options I was looking at. They only weigh 12.9 ounces, which is pretty good. So I carried these for several thousands of miles. Black diamond headlamp is what I carry when I'm backpacking. There's different kinds of black diamond headlamps, and it kind of depends on how bright you want the light to be. I do a lot of night hiking, so I prefer one that has a high lumens, which is, I guess, how they rate the light that comes out, like how strong it is. This one is 400 lumens. It weighs 2.7 ounces, but they do have ones that don't get as bright and that get brighter. This one's the Cosmo 350, so this one's 350 lumens, but I would suggest consider how much you might be night hiking, because if you're just walking around camp, you really don't need something super bright. But if you are hiking at night and you do need to see the trail, having something brighter is helpful. The red light option on both of these is great because if you're going to be at a campsite that other people are at and getting up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, you don't want to shine your headlamp at other people. So using a red light is really helpful for not disturbing other people if you're camping with others and you need to get up at night. Okay, in my opinion, a foam sleeping pad is a foam sleeping pad. It doesn't really matter too much which brand you're using. It's all going to be pretty similar. I like to use a foam pad because it's easy to carry. I can use it as a sit pad while I'm at lunch or dinner. I can kind of be a little bit rough with it and not worry about it popping like a inflatable would. You can also kind of cut it to the right height you need. You don't really need a foam pad, further down than your knees. So to be able to make it just the right size for you, because even the short's a little long for me, again, I'm 5'1", that's super helpful. For this one, you can see the pad thickness is 0.9 inches. The short weighs 10.5 ounces, and the regular weighs 14.5 ounces. So if you're looking at a foam sleeping pad, this one's on sale. You could save a couple bucks with it. The one that I typically use is the therm-a-rest Z-Lite Soul Sleeping Pad. It's just habit. I got it to start. I had recognized the yellow sleeping pad from seeing other people using it, and because I know it works for me, I just always keep getting this one when I have to replace it. It will kind of condense a little bit when you use it for thousands of miles, so I've ended up replacing this a handful of times. They've got regular size and they've got short size. The short and the regular are both 0.75 inches thick, so it's a little less thick than the one we just looked at. The short weighs 10 ounces, the regular weighs 14 ounces, so with that little bit less thickness, you do get a little bit lighter of a weight. This is something that I'm considering adding to my pack. I have gotten my pack weight as low as I feel comfortable going, which is just under 8 pounds for the base weight, and that means everything that's not consumable, so not including food and water. That's considered ultralight. It is a good weight for me to be at, being only 5'1", because I don't want to weigh myself down. But once you cut out basically everything but the essentials, you start to realize what you are willing to carry extra weight for. I've hiked with people that do carry a pillow, and I am always really jealous. So this is something that I might add into my pack and try on the Grand Tetons Trail when I do that hike, because I think having a pillow will help me sleep better at night. And if I'm in grizzly country, I need all the help I can get. As you can see at the bottom, there are quite a number of options. I don't really know if you can go wrong with a pillow, so I'll probably choose mine based on what the lightest weight is. Next up, we've got Ultra. This is my go-to hiking shoe of choice. I wear trail runners. I've also worn hiking boots. It depends on what kind of shape you're in. I found when I was in really bad shape, hiking boots are important because I needed the extra support on my ankles. But when I'm typically doing a long distance hike, I will wear Ultras. If you're going to use Ultras for the first time, things to know is they are a zero drop shoe, which means there is no elevated heel compared to the toe. That can take some getting used to. The Lone Peaks are typically what I would recommend as a starter shoe. I also really love the Timps, and I'll show those too. But the Lone Peak 7s are on sale. They're 40% off, and that is a great deal. So if they have it in your size, this would be what I would recommend as a first Ultra shoe to go with. It really does come down to preference when you're using shoes. So you really got to figure out what works best for you. I've got a bit of a wider foot, so the Ultras have a wide toe box, and that's something that I really appreciate. Between the Lone Peaks and the Timps, I've really enjoyed both, but they do put out new models every year, and it's hit or miss if people like the new models or not. I did not get the 7s just because what was in stock in my local REI was the 8s, and so I ended up getting the 8s. They're not on sale. Okay, so these are the Lone Peak 8s. These are the ones that I used on the Foothills Trail, which is the most recent hike I've done. And these are the ones that I just took to Appalachian Trail Days, and I wore them on our little section hike of the Grayson Highlands. Honestly, they're really similar to all the other Lone Peaks I've worn. I've done thousands of miles in Lone Peaks. I thought they were great. So no complaints here from me. They are full price. They're not part of the sale. So if you are an REI member, maybe this is what you use that 20% off on, if this is something that stands out to you. But if I was trying to be cost conscious, I would probably just get the 7s. I really don't notice too big of a difference between the models, but some people do. So it's really up to you. If you have a local REI near you and you want to try them on, that's great. If not, they've got a great return policy. So you can always order them and try them on and then decide from there. Okay, water bottles. Obviously these aren't for long distance hiking. These are going to be pretty heavy, but I always have a water bottle that I carry around with me day to day, and I got a cheap one off Amazon and it's leaking everywhere. So one of the things that I'm considering is just getting a hydro flask. I know that those are good water bottles, and if they're on sale, that might be something I buy. Nalgene's. I also carry Nalgene's when I go on day hikes and when I go car camping. For me, the pattern doesn't really matter too much because you're going to cover it in stickers anyway. So having an Nalgene on sale, they're all pretty similar. I like the wide mouth bottles. I also have a few of the narrow mouth bottles. Kind of just personal preference. Next thing that I like is a Sea to Summit dry bag. These I would not take long distance hiking, but I do take them car camping. And if I'm going to do a hike where I think it's going to be raining and I have electronics or something and it's not very long, I will take one of these just to keep it safe. If I'm doing anything where there's going to be water or where I know it's going to be wet, I'll just, throw my stuff in a Sea to Summit bag, and I find that it works pretty well. Okay, this is the Cotopaxi windbreaker. It is not identical to the one I have. It was a special run for the one that I got, but this is the most similar product to it. I love Cotopaxi mainly because the colors are really fun. But the windbreaker works great. I've taken it on the John Muir Trail, and I really enjoyed having it there on the windier days. It's 9.1 ounces,